And finally, okay, we have done some example like this, and I want to show you one, and this will be the end. I want to show you this one because I was mentioning it before, the one on the co-housing. I think that I can be short because I just introduced you more or less what it is. Maybe given, okay, let's go like this. We have observed in our, we call it horizontal observation of the social innovation, that is the one that you have seen in the research that I presented in this day. Some cases can emerge. For some different reasons, we observed the one of co-housing, and we thought that it was very interesting. So it happened to me to meet a friend that defined himself as a social entrepreneur. So it's a really very good person, good in by every point of view. It's also a very good and tough entrepreneur. So it's not simply somebody that has good wish. It's really somebody that is able to manage businesses and wanted to make some business with social value. And so together, my group and this company that is called Innocence, that defines itself as a social entrepreneurship company, decided to see if it was possible to do something in the field of the co-housing. And the first point was to understand better, so to go more in depth than what we knew, and to better understand what the co-housing was around the world, what are the kind of services that they shared. And we sent one of my collaborators around in the world to see some cases of co-housing. And this case of co-housing, permitted to make some observation, and we collected the observation. So who are the co-housers? What are the relationships that they have? It was not a really very in-depth research, but more than what you find usually in the books. What kind of services they shared? These are images of co-housing, existing co-housing in America and in Denmark. The notion of co-housing started in the beginning in Denmark. Denmark is a place where it's more developed than the others. And how they manage the greenery, how they manage the environmental devices. And so we had better clear idea of what were the conditions of existence of a co-housing, where were the problems, the main problems, how they organize the process that, as I said before, is long. And at this point, we make this kind of inquiry to better understand the problems. And what we understood better is, for co-housing, but it's similar to many other that have similarity to this. The first point is why it's so difficult to set up a co-housing. The first point is that I would like to enter in this idea, and I knock on the door to my friends, and they say, oh, you want to have make the co-housing with me? And maybe they say, yes, it would be a fantastic idea. Unfortunately, I have no money in this moment. Or unfortunately, I'm moving next day. Or unfortunately, my children do not want. So it's not easy to find, if I am in the position to have a co-housing tomorrow, the 20 families that want to have the co-housing with me tomorrow. So the long time that takes the co-housing as the first reason in the difficulty to find the people that want to do that thing in that moment with you. In the case of the co-housing, in that place. The second difficulty is that when you start to say, okay, we have the group, you have to search the place. And at least in Italy, it's terribly difficult to find a place because the owner of the land are shark. And they are so accustomed to make a lot of money without any problems that if you say, yes, I will your land, but maybe I want to make a co-housing, etc., they are not interested. And I must say that this has been the most difficult point of all the project. In any case, we understood there was a big problem in finding the land. I can go in detail, but let's do like this. The third, imagine that we have the group, the potential group, we have the land or the building. In general, in Italy, are to restore building because free land there is not so much. And you have to build up the same idea. I said before, when you say co-housing, we can find 2,000 people that say we are interested, but one thing to the hippie community, one thing to the kibbutz, one thing to a condominium, and so we have to build the same idea of the co-housing. So there is a problem of community building, it's called. So we focalize, and afterward there is a transversal problem of creating general attention, good mood, idea that co-housing means good, and not co-housing means as after the war that we have to share, because the elderly people say, I remember in the 50s we had to share the toilet, so why I should co-house with anybody else, given that it recall me very sad memory of the past. So what we did, we decided to start a solution organized in 4 major elements. One element that permits to help in building the group, not building, in creating, selecting, auto-selecting the group. One part that is to a professional group of people that helps you in finding the land. And the third one, another group of professional people that help in the community building and in the co-design of the services that you want to put together. So practically, what we did, we have been very lucky, first of all. I've never done a project that has been so successful as this one. All the newspapers, at least in the media, all the media talked about that, all the TV talked about that. We had for free that a lot of organizations gave us the link with their own site, that one of the biggest sociologue associations make an inquiry to see if there was an interest, and the result is that we had 3,000 inscriptions to this kind of club, that is the cohousing.it, this one, and there has a face like this. So we had 3,000 people that said, in principle, we like the idea and we are disposable if the conditions are given to start. This is very important. It's one of the important issues that this kind of digital platform can give, because nobody could have find out otherwise 3,000 people that say, okay, I could do it. So we had 3,000 of potential people interested. In parallel to this, my friend, with some other, put together a group of not me, that I'm not good in business, as now you know, very tough person that had to go to deal with the shark, with the people or the landowner, and make a kind of business with them. Contract, say what we can do, how much you want, and try to have a lower price and more freedom in doing things. And suppose that this group of professional people able to interact with the landowner found out a place, a land. And so we take this one, we put it on the web, and we say, there is a possibility of a place for eco-housing in Zona Lambrate, that is a place in Italy, in Milano. It is like this. The average cost will be something like that. Who is interested? And so in between the 3,000 people, there was maybe 50 people that exactly in that moment say, yes, I am interested now in Lambrate with this kind of average costs. And so the first stage of creating the community, we can discuss if it is a community, but in any case, to create the group has been enormously accelerated. And afterward, the third element is an element of team building. There was, and is, because it's still working, it's not past. It's made by some professionals that in the beginning are more psychologues that help the group to talk, to interact, and to generate shared ideas, and progressively become more us that give advice on what does it mean to put together a washing center or to put together a kitchen, preparing, and we prepared some tools to help the process, because the people could say, oh, I would like to have a swimming pool. And maybe everybody say, yes, why don't we have a swimming pool? But, okay, if you want a swimming pool, it's not forbidden, but you have to know the implications. So to really discuss about swimming pool, you have to know more or less how much land, how much it costs, what are the implications, what is the maintenance, before really calling an expert that make you the design of a swimming pool. Of course, I use the term swimming pool, example of the swimming pool, but the same could be for a communal kitchen, for instance. So we had to communicate. We make a kind of logo that is this one. We have a site that is this one. We have the newsletter that is this one. We put together the people. We define a certain number of tools that nowadays very common in design, that is kind of cards that are helpful to make the discussion progress. And we generate, moving from the community of 3,000 people, at the moment we have 4 ongoing projects. This is now, it's old. 2 of these projects are just in the phase of real building, and the 3 or 4 now I have lost are in the phase of definition of the group. The difficulties are many, in any case, also for us. My friend, that in this case is a real hero, has had a very hard time because the owner of the building, because there was a certain idea of how manage all the things, and it was more difficult than we imagined. But luckily, he survived. So we hope that once that the machine starts to work, it will be proven that it works really. And finishing telling you the difficulties is only because I want to say that when you move from theoretical discussion about what will be good to something that to enter in the reality, at the end, it's a kind of business. I say business in a very general term, an organization that has to be economically self-sufficient. Well, you face all the difficulty of every new business. Maybe in this case has been very successful with some problem of cash flow. And everything was going to collapse because the cash flow, because the owner of the land will not give at a certain moment, money that they should give. So this is a very banal, but very concrete example, is to say we can have the good ideas, but afterwards to make them real, you have really to face economical and technical and opportunity issues that are very, very crucial and very complicated. In any case, this at the moment is a success story. I think that it's unique in this way. There are a lot of things to be discussed also by the point of view of which will be the result in terms of community that will be built. This is still open because it's still at the beginning. Maybe next time that we will meet, I could tell you if this community was really a resisting community or say transformed simply in a kind of condominium. And for me, it's all. And I thank you for all this attention. And this is the final claim.